in the silence of St. Margaret's Monastery, a Carmelite house near Scranton, Pennsylvania, founded in 1897. We live by vows of poverty, chastity, obedience, and presence. Silence here is not empty. It's where God speaks, if we dare to listen. But some sounds, unbidden, pierce that stillness, carrying echoes of devotion that linger beyond life. It was my third year at St. Margaret's, a place of austere beauty and strict observance, housing 32 sisters then. The East Wing, sealed for decades due to structural decay, was a forbidden space. 5 bedrooms, a sacristy, and a small oratory, untouched by time. We didn't question it. Old buildings bear their scars. Yet, even in our disciplined silence, something refused to stay quiet. It began faintly, a rhythmic clicking, like rosary beads slipping through fingers, deliberate, devotional, not rushed. It came after Compline, as we walked single file to our cells, or during Eucharistic adoration, soft and distant. At first, we didn't speak of it. Our order teaches discernment, to weigh what might be spiritual against what might masquerade as piety. But the sound persisted, steady and unmistakable. Click, click, click. I confided in Sister Lorraine, professed nearly 50 years, her face lined with wisdom. "You hear them too," she said, her voice calm, offering no explanation, only acknowledgement. Her words settled heavily, confirming the sound was real, shared. Then came the visit of Bishop Terence Flaherty from Allentown, a quiet canon lawyer known for his orthodoxy. He arrived without fanfare, dressed in plain clerics, carrying a worn leather satchel. After a private meeting with Mother Prioress, they went to the East Wing. No one followed. When they returned, his directive was clear. The East Wing remains sealed. No entry, no repairs, no mass. This is not a place for curiosity, but for prayer. That night, on refectory duty, I passed the sealed wing near 10 p.m. The clicking came again, louder, pleading, as if echoing a prayer unfinished. I paused, my heart listening as much as my ears. It wasn't fear I felt, but a call to presence, to honor something still faithful. In confession, I asked Father Kevin, our spiritual director, if a soul could remain bound to a place. "God's mercy is infinite," he said. "Some souls, steeped in prayer, continue what they knew, especially if unresolved." The clicking grew softer over time, heard mostly on Marian feast days. I began to pray my rosary with intention, matching its rhythm to the unseen beads, as if joining a silent sister in her devotion. The East Wing remains closed, its secrets held in prayer, not curiosity. I think of those hands, still offering intercessions, perhaps for us, perhaps for the world. In a monastery, silence is obedience. But some sounds, faithful, persistent, remind us that prayer doesn't always end with death. They linger, like beads clicking in the dark, asking us to listen, to be present, to pray for those who never stopped. I carry that rhythm in my heart, a reminder that some vows echo beyond the grave, binding us to God, to each other, in the sacred stillness where souls still kneel. At St. Gertrude's Monastery in Missouri, our garden is a sacred space, tended by hand in rhythm with the liturgical calendar. No loud tools disturb the silence. We prune slowly, pull weeds by their roots, and plant with care. The Stations of the Cross line the outer path, and at the center stands a modest statue of Our Lady of Grace, facing east toward the promise of resurrection. Here, silence is not empty. It's where we meet God, if we listen with courage. It was spring, just after Easter, and we were preparing the garden for the May crowning. Violets bloomed near the west gate, their delicate purple petals bright against fresh mulch. Sister Helena, a former nurse, practical and grounded, was the first to speak of it. "I saw a girl on the path," she said, her voice steady. "Pale, maybe 7 or 8, dressed in white, like for First Communion, veil, gloves, all of it. I asked if it was a neighbor's child. She shook her head. She vanished when I turned the corner. No gate opened, no sound. The grounds are locked, and the nearest homes are a quarter-mile through thicket. I didn't dismiss her, but I wondered if prayer had stirred her imagination. Then 2 other sisters reported the same. A girl in a 1960s-style First Communion dress. Lace sleeves, satin bodice, short veil, walking calmly, never speaking, always vanishing before they could approach. The sightings were separate, yet identical, each description precise and unshaken. The air around her felt different, they said. Not of this world, but not threatening. Present, yet distant. We brought it to Father Lewis, our chaplain, during spiritual direction. Discern the fruit, he advised. Does it lead to prayer or fear? It drew us to prayer. We began a rosary for her, whoever she was, and offered a mass for children who died unbaptized, not presuming, but hoping. I searched our archives and found a record from the 1940s, when our grounds housed a chapel and boarding house for girls preparing for First Communion. One name stood out: Maria Elizabeth Duval, 8 years old, set to receive the sacrament in May 1947. She died of rheumatic fever 2 weeks prior, likely dressed in white for the occasion she never reached. We couldn't be certain it was Maria, her face never clear, her voice never heard. But we prayed for her soul, placing a white rose at the foot of Our Lady's statue. After that, the sightings ceased, not abruptly, but gently, like a chapter closing. The garden felt stiller, as if a longing had been answered. Each spring, as we walk the path in silence, praying the Regina Caeli, we remember her, not as a ghost, but as a soul who may have lingered for the sacrament, for peace. Near the 4th station, a small white glove sometimes appears beneath a violet bloom, a quiet sign we haven't forgotten. In our life of presence, some stories don't need endings, only prayers. The girl in white taught us to listen, to honor the unseen with faith, not fear. Her steps, though silent, echo in our garden, reminding us that grace lingers where love and prayer intertwine, even beyond the veil. At St. Agnes Cloister in Indiana, a small Benedictine community where we chant the Divine Office in Latin, silence is our canvas, painted with prayer and song. As music director in 1990, I led our choir of 9 sisters in preparing for the Feast of Corpus Christi, reviving the ancient hymn Pange Lingua Gloriosi by St. Thomas Aquinas. Its layered chant and harmony carried doctrine in every note, demanding reverence and precision. We rehearsed in the chapter room, its stone walls and wooden pews offering pristine acoustics, free of modern hums. During one session, on the 2nd verse, Nobis datus, nobis natus ex intacta virgine, Sister Martina halted mid-phrase, eyes wide. After rehearsal, she whispered, "Did someone come in?" I heard a voice, male, tenor, in perfect harmony. I hadn't noticed, attributing it to echoes. "No one entered," I said, but her unease lingered. The next day, we recorded the hymn to refine our pitch. That evening, in the sacristy office, we played the tape. At 1:24, as we sang Verbum caro, panem verum, a 10th voice emerged, clear, resonant, masculine, blending seamlessly in counterpoint. It wasn't one of us. No one had entered or left. None of us could match that tone. The voice was reverent, liturgically precise, as if it belonged. We replayed it, stunned, the sound unwavering at the same moment. We brought the recording to Father Jonah, our Vincentian chaplain, a man grounded in liturgical theology. He listened twice, expression unchanged, then asked, "Was the chapter room used for final professions?" It had been. He nodded. Brother Matthias, a tenor trained in Rome, assisted here. Devoted to sacred music, he loved Pange Lingua. Died in 1963, A stroke during adoration. The room grew still. No one spoke of hauntings or fear. We sought discernment. Father Jonah advised, "Judge by its fruit. Does it lead to prayer or confusion?" The voice stirred reverence, not fear. We didn't share the recording beyond the cloister. It wasn't for spectacle. At the Corpus Christi Mass, we sang with heightened awareness, the harmony feeling fuller, complete. Tears fell among the choir as the Eucharist was raised, not from dread, but from awe, as if the voice had joined us once more. We never heard it again, but the memory lingers. Each time we sing Pangelingua, I listen for that 10th voice, a reminder that devotion leaves traces. In a life given to God, some prayers don't end with death. They echo in song, joining the living in adoration. We sing on, not chasing signs, but trusting that grace sometimes harmonizes with voices unseen, completing what was begun long ago. At St. Cecilia's Convent in upstate New York, our lives are woven with prayer, work, and silence, shaped by the hours, not convenience. Mirrors are few, kept only for necessity. Humility, not superstition, guides us. Each cell holds a small one behind the closet door, enough for adjusting a veil or brushing hair. In the winter of 1996, after 10 years professed, I faced a heavy season. Snow fell early, several sisters were ill, and we mourned our beloved Mother Benedicta. The house felt still, not sorrowful, just quiet. One night, after Compline, past the 9 o'clock lights out, I lingered in my cell, brushing my hair before replacing my coif. In the dim mirror, I saw her, a sister, standing just behind my left shoulder, silent, unmoving. I thought it might be Sister Anne, the infirmarian, checking on me. But when I turned, the cell was empty, the door locked, no footsteps in the hall. Her face was unclear, but her habit was distinct. Heavy wool, wide sleeves, a deep scapular, and a long veil reaching mid-back. An older style, pre-1950s, unlike our simple black tunic and white coif, adapted after Vatican II. I felt no fear, only a sense of being watched, gently, not with malice. Sitting on my bed, I prayed the Memorar, avoiding the mirror that night. I told no one at first, heeding our training to test spirits, not chase signs. Days passed, chapel, meals, work, but the image lingered. Later that week in the library, I found a faded photograph in an old book about our convent's early days. It showed 7 sisters by the original chapel, circa 1930s. The second from the left wore that same heavy habit, the long veil, unmistakable. I showed it to Sister Philippa, our historian. She smiled softly. "That's Sister Magdalene, entered in 1924, one of our first. Taught Latin, never missed morning prayer in 41 years. She died in the West Hall, 2 doors from your cell, a peaceful death." Her words carried weight, not alarm. I didn't see the sister again. No shadow, no reflection. But I felt her presence, as if she were ensuring the house she helped build still held its reverence. I began including Sister Magdalene in my prayers, not assuming unrest, but offering peace. Each night, before closing the mirror door, I brushed my hair slowly, pausing to say a Hail Mary for the living, the dead, and those who linger, watching over these walls. The act became a ritual, not of fear, but of connection. We don't speak of ghosts here, but we know the communion of saints. A life of devotion doesn't always fade at death. Sometimes grace lingers in silence, in memory, in the folds of an old habit glimpsed in a mirror. The convent remains quiet, its rhythm unbroken. I never felt threatened, only reminded that every prayer, every act of obedience leaves an echo. Sister Magdalene's presence, if it was hers, wasn't a haunting but a gentle nudge to keep the hours, to stay faithful. Now, when I close the mirror door, I do so with care, trusting that some vows endure beyond the grave, watching over us in love, not spectacle, ensuring the silence still speaks of God. At St. Joseph's Monastery in western Pennsylvania, our small Benedictine community lives quietly in the hills, far from town, with only bells, psalms, and seasons to mark our days. Silence is our rhythm, prayer our pulse. That autumn, we lost Sister Mary Agatha, who served over 60 years, tending altar linens with reverent precision. As porter, she never missed a knock at the door. After her passing, we prayed a novena for her soul, a tradition of love, not fear, offered nightly after her burial. On the first night, as we finished the novena's final prayer, "May eternal light shine upon her, O Lord," 3 soft knocks sounded at the main door, where Sister Agatha once stood. Sister Cecilia checked, her habit whispering across the floor, but found no one. No footprints, no wind, just silence. We continued praying, trained not to rush to judgment. The second night, at the same prayer, 3 knocks came again, deliberate, patient, as if waiting for us to finish. By the 5th night, the pattern held. Always 3, always at the prayer's end. We consulted Father Raymond, our chaplain, grounded in scripture and reason. "Have you offered a mass for her?" he asked. We hadn't, only the novena. Some souls linger, not in pain, but love, waiting for a farewell. We held a quiet requiem mass, placing her embroidered rosary cloth on the altar. The chapel felt full, alive. The knocks came on nights 6, 7, and 8, unchanged. But on the 9th night, as we spoke, "May eternal light shine upon her," no knock followed. The silence was still, not heavy, but complete. We waited, but nothing stirred. The next morning, Sister Amalia found a folded linen at the door, embroidered with a single A, Sister Agatha's stitching, unmistakable from her altar cloths. We hadn't placed it there. Now, it rests in our sacristy drawer, not a relic, but a remembrance of a soul faithful beyond the veil. Father Raymond suggested she might have lingered, tied to her duty as porter, ensuring the door was still answered. We don't speak of hauntings, but of grace. Each novena for the dead, we listen at the door, not in fear, but welcome. Sister Agatha's knocks weren't for spectacle but love, a reminder that devotion endures. Now when we pray, we hear her echo in the silence, as if she still stands at her post, ensuring no call goes unanswered. In a life given to God, some duties don't end. They knock, softly, faithfully, until they rest in peace.